Oh, I think. I see chat. Chat is moving. There we go. Hello, and welcome back to, what are we calling this? AI
Good
Dungeon
question.
live with your favorite people. We may or may not have had a little bit of trouble getting into the studio. Uh, I banged my head into the door accidentally while walking through the entrance, and I had to recover from the concussion from that, and now here I am. How is everyone? I see we're talking about seaweed in chat. Always good. I got some seaweed in my office. Oh my goodness. Chat's been going for a while. People just randomly chat in our chat.
Apparently they do.
Just for hours. They're just always waiting. Ugh. All right. Is everyone ready?
Let's go.
All right. So last time we had a good time. It was Colt and the Raven, which has slowly grown over time to become a very large Raven. Now the Raven is larger than me. Apparently, I'm being carried in midair, and I have the power to silence people, which I'm sure a lot of people would love to use that power on me, but it's you know, I'm sorry, you don't get that lucky. You can't silence the spike. Ah, too bad we're not gonna have the awesome music this time, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll survive. All right, so I'll go over what had recently happened. Colt kicks out his feet as he hangs from the claws 100 feet in the air. Whoa, buddy! I never said you could do that. But alas, there is no landing for him until his journey is complete. Well, fine, but you'd better offer me some crackers for the flight. It's the least Delta could do, or would do. The giant raven, now the size of a small horse, gave a deep rumbling call that vibrated through Colt's entire body. Rodigan's will is not a suggestion, little morsel, the bird intoned, its voice now a resonant baritone rather than its previous chattering squawk. And I am not Delta. I am Shiny, his faithful conduit. And you are not in a position to demand snacks. I'm always in a position to demand snacks, but... The village of Everlight shrank beneath them, becoming a patchwork of thatched roofs, winding lanes, and the glittering ribbon of the river. The wind whipped through Colt's hair, making his stubborn hoagie flap violently. He dangled from the raven's powerful talons, his stomach lurching with every dip and sway of the bird's flight. Okay, so I think this falls on you now. It's your turn. Hey, I'm kind of new. Can someone give me a quick rundown of what the beep is actually happening? Ah, yes. So you missed the recap. The recap is I was teleported into a fantasy world where I have the power to silence people, which was granted to me by a dark lord, and he also gave me a talking raven, who is now giant.
All right. Let's see.
We'll keep doing that. We'll take turns and we'll do a picture between each turn. Oh, I forgot to switch the image model. I forgot to switch the image model. This is so sad. I literally
I think
someone literally reminded me to change the image model and I forgot.
you
Terrible.
probably can still do it.
No, I can't because when I open up the settings, I show dev stuff and I'm trying to avoid doing that.
I'm not sure if there's anything in there at the moment.
There's always things and stuff. There's the secret nuke AI dungeon button, and there's the hidden in the settings is the entirety of Voyage as well. Little known fact, you get there through the AI dungeon settings. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I was not made into a lapdog of the crown. Hey, hey, hey. Just because I helped, like, silence someone complaining about taxes does not mean I'm a lapdog of the crown. Chat, you are being very uncharitable. Black the screen. I don't know if I can do that using, Riverside. I can stop sharing the screen and then reshare it. I don't know if that's gonna break everything though. I don't know if we need the host here to like reselect the the screen.
All right.
You could open it in a new window and change it there. Will that sync across? Is that a thing? Is that a feature we have? I should know that. I'm a terrible employee. I'm gonna try that. That's a cool idea. Let's see.
I believe that should work.
Oh my goodness, there's two of me. What? I didn't even know you could do that. I can play multiplayer with myself. Ah, now I can pretend I have friends. Excellent.
All right. Shiny carries Colt to their destination, almost dropping on him on the way by accident. The massive raven's wing beat against the crisp morning air as it soared over Everlight's outskirts, its shadow passing over fields of golden wheat and orchards heavy with fruit. Colt dangled precariously from its talons, his arms flailing as he tried in vain to find purchase in the empty air. Could you, not squeeze so tight? Colt gasped, his face turning an interesting shade of purple from the pressure from his shoulders. Shiny tilted his head, one gleaming eye glancing down at its cargo. Apologies, it rumbled, loosening its grip just enough for Colt to suck in a proper breath. I forgot how fragile human bones are. You're like hollow twigs wrapped in meat.
Wait a second. If you forgot how fragile human bones are, does that imply that at one point this raven was a human?
That would explain why it can talk.
That's a... We got lore! Lore!
We do.
Oh, I have insufficient credits. I can't use Nano Bananas. Someone was literally complaining that I used dev models, and as you can see, I'm not. I'm limited.
Okay, let me give you some credits real quick.
Oh no. I'm broke. I'm too broke. This is so sad. All right. So yeah, now I'm hanging and I can't breathe and it's great. Everything's good. Fine. Oh, I forgot we're using story mode for this. Colt grumbles for the rest of the trip about over eager birds and international flight policies. I can't really do much. I'm just being dangled in the middle of the air. It's not like I can just, you know, let go. I'll die. How can Spike be broke? I actually, the funny thing is I only get paid in AI Dungeon credits, and I ran out. I use them to get my groceries. The giant raven, Shiny, maintained its steady flight, its powerful wings cutting through the air with a rhythmic whoosh. Colt dangled below, his arms crossed over his chest as he muttered complaints into the wind. Unbelievable, Colt grumbled, his voice barely audible over the rush of air. No safety briefing, no complimentary peanuts, not even a lousy in-flight magazine. This is a violation of at least 3 international flight policies. I'm pretty sure there's a rule against being carried against your will by an oversized bird with a penchant for theft. Shiny's deep, rumbling voice vibrated through its talons into Colt's shoulders. International flight policies? What nonsense are you spouting now, flesh sack? The only policy that matters is Rodigan's will. Okay, birds have flesh, alright? I feel like there's a lot of internalized human phobia inside of this raven, and I think it needs to get over itself. Personally.
Maybe.
Do I have credits now? Did we actually hack them into my account?
I gave you some, but I'm not sure if it worked.
It's incredible. I did not know we could do this. This whole time I could have been giving myself credits. Oh! it's better. It's better. It actually understands that I am not merged. Well, the legs are. One of my feet are. Wait, it says shiny. Put me down on the bottom. I can even, do you see that? Oh my goodness, that is so good.
It
That
really
is.
hyper focused on you being purple.
Yeah, it did. I'm very purple. I just like the text. I really I liked that. Okay. All right, your turn.
All
I don't.
right.
We're gonna be in the air for the next 6 hours. It's just gonna be the whole stream is gonna be me yelling midair.
Let's see if we can speed that up.
Typing noises. Typing noises. Typing noises. Is it a bird?
Yeah.
Is it a plane? No, it was a bird. I don't even know if he can really be technically considered a bird at this size. More like a dinosaur, honestly. How do people even enjoy this fast-paced, dramatic gameplay? One of these days, we're just gonna stream Voyage, and nobody will even know. Nobody will even notice. We'll swap it out. It'll be tantalizing gameplay, but nobody will realize.
Shiny starts to descend, mumbling about the nonsense Colt has been saying. The giant raven began its descent, its massive wings tilting to catch the air as it circled downward. Nonsense, Shiny rumbled, its voice vibrating to Colt's bones. International flight policies, peanuts, you speak in riddles, featherless one. Perhaps Rodigan should have chosen a vessel with fewer loose thoughts. Below them, the manicured gardens of the Starling estate came into view. Neatly trimmed hedges, blooming flower beds, and a stone path leading to a well-kept manor house. Near a rose arbor, a young woman in a simple maid's dress was carefully pruning bushes, her movements diligent but slightly hesitant. Shiny's grip tightened just enough to be uncomfortable as it aimed for a landing. There, the raven intoned. Angela Baker, the target.
Quintessential anime moment. We got the maid outfit. We got me being dropped from the sky. Everything's going great.
True.
Colt impacts the ground with an audible crunch, rolling 4 feet into a hedge. Well, that was gentler than I had expected. I'm calling you out on your piloting skill. Is it piloting if you are the bird? I guess it's just flying. You aren't piloting yourself. I am piloting a meat machine right now from my own head. Believe it or not.
True.
If you think about it. Colt impact. Oh no, I accidentally did say. Colt impacted the ground with an audible crunch, rolling 4 feet into a neatly trimmed hedge. Twigs snapped and leaves rustled as he came to a stop, his limbs tangled into the foliage. He groaned, pushing himself upright and brushing dirt from his tunic. Well, that was gentler than I had expected. Shiny now returned to his normal raven size. Oh no! You're not shiny
I shrunk
anymore!
again.
Ah! Landed gracefully on a nearby garden statue. A stone shrub? I don't know. Holding a water jug. I'm not rich enough for that word, okay? I don't have an estate. You're welcome, the bird said primly, preening a feather back into place. I could have dropped you from a higher altitude. Consider it a professional courtesy. Andela Baker, the maid. Andela? Jumped at the sudden commotion, her pruning shears clattering to the ground. I'm just going to let chat decide how I pronounce things. If you guys want to tell me how to say things, fine. We'll put it up to democracy. All right, let me make a picture really quickly, and then we'll have you go. We're going a little bit faster than last time. We've got some momentum going.
We do.
You don't have to apologize for being late to a live stream. It's okay. This isn't. I mean, this is a place where you can learn great life skills and how to be awesome. But it's not like we're not like professors. Did I like it to the hyper realistic? No.
Well, there you see the cherub.
Oh my goodness! It's so cheruby. And I like how this is still a large bird. This is still not a normally sized bird. Look at her back there. It's like the YouTube faces I make for YouTube. It's so good.
It's a normal sized bird in comparison to the size it was just now.
I continue to become more handsome over time too. Now I look stunning. Like, I look very fancy now. Excellent. The AI knows. All right. Oh wait, this is you now. Oh, that is true. My hair is too clean. It missed that. That's okay. Not even a cowlick. Do you think these people have hedge insurance? Or do you think it's just their hedges are just ruined now?
They better have hope.
I'm gonna be honest.
They better.
Well, looking at this picture, I don't think the maid's doing a very good job. Do you see how overgrown the ivy is on that building? Like, I understand having a little bit for decoration purposes, but like that's going to damage the masonry. Wait, where did this come from?
Huh? Also, my action got 8.
Your action is gone? It was replaced by this beautiful art. What just happened?
Okay.
Is that a raven?
It might be a raven.
I
found
am
my action again.
I am stunned. Property insurance. No, I insure each thing in my house individually, right? I've got my door insurance, my window insurance. I've got insurance on the steps. I've got insurance on the oven. I want to hedge my bets on it. You guys are all terrible.
I think we accidentally revived pixel art.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. That's like a super old model, isn't it? Like super old model?
Yeah, we removed it.
We literally are being attacked by old AI models now. They feel jealous. I mean, if we compare between these two pictures, I mean, there is a certain charm to the bottom one that you don't really find in the new pasteurized corporate greed, AI models. There was something special about this. Okay, I'll stop ranting.
Shiny looks around for anything to peck on, now hungry from the transformation back into small, but still bigger than usual raven form. Angela Baker gasped as Colt tumbled out of the hatch, her grey-blue eyes widening in shock. The pruning shears slipped from her fingers, landing with a metallic clatter on the stone garden path. "Oh dear," she stammered, her hand fluttering nervously at her mouth. Are you alright, sir? You came out of nowhere." Her short brown hair bobbed as she took an uncertain step forward, her gaze darting between Colt and the unusually large raven now eyeing the silver button on her apron.
You can't attack her, okay, or her clothing. That would be very disrespectful.
It would, but it's Shiny. Shiny hopped down from the statue, his talons clicking against the stone path. Shiny, he murmured, sliding towards endless discarded shears. Colt groaned as he extracted himself from the hedge, brushing leaves from his tunic.
Colt ran towards the bird. Stop it, you absolute chicken nugget of depression. That's a good way to refer to a crow, I think. Pretty close.
That is.
He grabs the shears and hands them to the woman before the bird can do something too dangerous or stupid. I am looking for the man who owns this. Why are we here? I don't even remember what we're supposed to do.
Weren't we supposed to silence her or something?
Oh, yeah, I think is he the one, the tax one, or was that another person? It's fine. I just have to silence him. The reason doesn't matter, does it? I'm bound to the Dark Lord. I will do my duties. I cough into my hand. It's a business matter about Portugal. Portugal probably doesn't exist in this world. But wait, is it her?
I think it's her.
It was the maid? I have to silence the maid? What did she do?
Well, apparently being concerned for you is not allowed.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to. It's all diversion. I knew the whole time that she wasn't the target. I'm diversionating, okay? So that's a word. So she's not going to expect it when I silence her. Is there like a distance? How far away can I use my power from? Like, could I have just hidden like a mile away with like binocular? Well, maybe not binoculars because they. I mean, I could have like a telescoping lens, like a pirate, and be like, "Ah, yes, silence." Okay, Portugal is canonical. Good, good.
I'm sure Van will love that.
All right, Colt ran towards the bird. Stop it, you absolute chicken nugget of depression. He grabs the shears and hands them to the woman before the bird can do anything dangerous or stupid. I'm looking for the man who owns this fine estate. It's a business matter about Portugal. Angela took the shears with trembling hands, her eyes wide with confusion. "Thank you, sir," she stammered, clutching the metal to her chest. "I am looking for the man who finds this." Wait, why am I stuttering and saying it a second time? I am looking for the man who owns this fine estate. I suddenly have confidence issues. It's a business matter about Portugal, I say again. The maid blinked her brow furrowing. Portugal, she repeated. Getting familiar with doubling over tongue. Well, I don't know. She's gonna alert the manor. She can't. I can silence her. That's the whole point of this operation. Nobody can stop me. Except for probably a gun, or a sword, or knife, or poison, or a lack of sleep, or starvation. There's a couple of things that could stop me, actually, now that I think about it. Fell on my head. Maybe that is why I can't talk anymore, because I was dropped from the sky, landed in a bush. It happens to the best of us. And the worst.
It does. Just like every other day. Just suddenly falling from the sky.
All right, I'm gonna do a picture while you read that.
Shiny perks up and starts rambling without even thinking about it. Portugal. You know Portugal. Everyone knows Portugal. Shiny, who had been sulking over the lost shiny opportunity, suddenly perked up. The raven hopped closer, tilting its head at Andela. Portugal, it squawked, its voice taking on a know-it-all tone. You know Portugal, the land of port and gals. Everyone knows Portugal, famous for its cork trees and explorers who get lost a lot. A very important business, I'm sure.
Oh, I see why I said port and gals, because Portugal.
Andela stared at the talking bird. Her mouth slightly agape. She took a step back, her knuckles whitening around the pruning shears. A talking bird, she whispered, more to herself than to them. Her gaze shifted from the raven to Colt, her initial confusion hardening into a flicker of suspicion. Who are you?
I like how I now look like a 7-year-old man. I've downgraded really quickly between the last image. Truly, I'm falling off. Probably because I was dropped into a hedge. But wow, the landscaping got a lot better. She got really talented. Look at all of the flowers. Like
She did. She also had a costume change.
Yeah, she was so shocked. She threw off the maid outfit, and now she is just wearing clothes, just nondescript. I got a cloak though, so I'm cool now. Except I look old. It was just my birthday, so this hits personally. I feel old now. It's hitting me where it really, really hurts.
It's a trade offer. You get a cloak, but you get old.
Oh wait, Colt extended his hand and smiled. Who am I? That's a brilliant question. But more importantly, who are you? And did you happen to annoy any dark lords of magic and or sorcery lately? Just curious, no reason. Perhaps a small reason. Maybe larger if I were in your position. Mayhaps. Perchance. I'm really getting into the character at this point. I feel like the quintessential MC who has realized that he's doomed no matter what he does. All right. Colt extended his hand and smiled, a gesture that felt too wide and forced on his face. I like how it's making me even more suspicious, than I have to be. Who am I? That's a brilliant question. But more importantly, who are you? He leaned in slightly, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper. And Did you happen to annoy any dark lords of magic and or sorcery lately? Just curious. No reason. Perhaps a small reason. Maybe larger if I were in your position. Mayhaps. Perchance. Angela Baker took her step backwards, her heel crunching on a loose piece of gravel. She did not take his offered hand. Her stutter was more pronounced now, layered with fear. I am just a maid, Angela. I don't know of any lords, dark or otherwise.
Suspicious.
Incredibly suspicious. She's probably evil herself. We just don't know it. Except we do know it. I have to get my mic closer so I can do more dramatic voices. This is the official AI Dungeon ASMR channel. I just know I can't prove it yet. Look, don't laugh at me. Look, I can read people. I look at people and I say, oh, she's definitely from an evil demon organization.
Shiny doesn't buy her excuse and tries to remember why Rodigan even sent the both of them on this quest. Shiny ruffled his feathers, the beady eyes narrowing at Angela. Don't know any lords? The raven scoffed, hopping closer. That's a bit rich, coming from someone who serves the Starlings. High-ranked nobles, aren't they? Simon Starling practically dips with influence, and Shiny thinks. He tilted his head as if trying to recall something. Rodigan doesn't send us after just anyone. There must be a reason. Have you been gossiping, spreading inconvenient truths, or perhaps you've been remembering things you shouldn't? Colt watched the exchange, his hand still awkwardly extended. He slowly lowered it, his smile fading as he studied Andala's face.
Colt takes a step back, crossing his arms. Well, Shiny, now you've done it. Now you made us sound like the bad guys. We're just doing official business for a very unofficial man. Don't shoot the messenger. Shoot the bird instead. He scratches his head. But really, I am interested in hearing you out. You never know when it will be your last chance to be heard by a by a curious party. he coughs into his hand dramatically. I am threading the line between being good and being evil, okay? I'm not completely committed to evil yet. Evil may be committed to me, but I could choose to be a good guy if she gives me a reason. Andala's hands trembled as she clutched the pruning shears tighter, her knuckles whitening. Oh, this is not going well. Her blue eyes darted between Colt and the unnervingly articulate Raven. I don't know what you're talking about, she stammered, taking another step back. I just went to the gardens. I haven't. Shiny hopped forward, his talons clicking against the stone path. Oh, come on now, the Raven chided, his voice dripping with sarcasm. You're stuttering more than usual. That's a tell, isn't it? humans do that when they're lying, or when they're nervous, or when they're lying and nervous. Colt sighed, rubbing his temple. I'm gonna be honest. That Deep Sea can be so funny accidentally sometimes. Like
Yeah.
peak cinema. I'm gonna generate. You haven't started typing yet, right?
Yeah. Go for it.
All right. I'm gonna get a good picture here of she's being like shaken down by a bird. You haven't gotten the info out of her yet, though.
Oh my god.
What is this one? Why do I look so like that? Why? Oh man, that was all right. Wow. Now I'm in a hoodie. Both is crazy. That's true. Lying and nervous. I think she's probably not evil. And I think I probably am evil. But for the sake of the story, I have to question that, right?
Shiny grabs the shears from her and holds her at shear point, waiting for her to confess. Shiny darted forward with startling speed. His talons snatched the pruning shears from Andela's scarves before she could react. He held the sharp tip inches from her throat, his glossy black feathers bristling with intent. Confess, the raven demanded, his voice low and menacing. What do you know that has drawn Rodigan's eyes? Speak quickly, my patience is as thin as this blade. Andela's breath hitched, her eyes wide with terror. I don't, she stammered, her words catching in her throat. I swear I've done nothing. I remember things sometimes. Dreams, a classroom, a flash of light. Colt stepped forward, his hand instinctively moving towards the gem in his pocket. Oh!
Plot twist! I even did an echo because it's so plot twisty. She was one of the classmates who, for some reason, I don't recognize. Probably because I haven't seen my classmates in maid outfits very often, so it's easy to get them confused. I don't know what school you guys have went to. That's not normal attire where I'm from. I don't know why my hand is instinctively moving toward the gem in my pocket. Colt's hand pulls back when he realizes what he has heard. Wait a second. Are you from my math class? You're telling me you're teleported here as well. We'll pause. Well, that's awkward. I was supposed to silence you for eternity, but I can't really do that to someone in my own position. That would compromise my incredibly in-depth and consistent moral code that wasn't directly ripped off from Hollywood tropes. I could actually roll d20s and tell the AI what I roll for these, and it would probably be able to figure it out and add some. Do we want to do rolls? Do we want to try that? That might be fun. Let's try it. Why not? Why not try rolls? All right, I'm gonna roll. I don't know what my bonus is though. That's the problem. Like I have no clue what my my bonus would be. Chat, do you think I'd get a whatever? I'm gonna roll for this one. D20 roller. Here we go. No, we're doing it. We're doing a D20 roll. Because it will actually be smart enough to make it happen catastrophically if it goes wrong. I rolled a 2. I rolled a 2. Oh, that's not going to go well. This is going to go very poorly. I don't even think I have to give it extra instructions. I think it's smart enough to know what that means. Oh wait, it just did the exact same. I'm gonna retry that. We're gonna retry that. Okay, no, it didn't. It didn't use it at all. 1 second. I'm gonna see if we can do it. We're going to use advanced technology here called adding an author's note. Some of you may know the secrets. Really, you can just type that like that. I've gotten it to work pretty well before, but with minimal instruction. And by minimal, I mean a little bit. I'm failing to load in on another tab though. Maybe my luck has run out. Actually, I think I should be able to go into here as long as I don't touch anything down there. Okay, here we go. Others note: if a D20 roll is provided, use it to determine the success of the outcome. Yay! Okay, let's see if it works. We could literally use your dice script. That's a good point, but it would probably take effort to put it in.
We couldn't even put it in because we'd have to convince Van.
Anything is possible when you're a developer. Okay, it doesn't care. DeepSeek is not playing along with my attempts here, so we're gonna ignore it. I'm just gonna edit this out. It's fine. It's fine. I thought it would be cool, but I gotta find the prompting I was using before for that. All right. Angela flinched back from the cheers still held by Shiny, her gaze locking onto Colt's face with dawning recognition. Mrs. Henderson's algebra, she whispered, the words barely audible. The light event? A long, awkward silence stretched between them, broken only by the distant chirping of sparrows and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. Shiny lowered the pruning shears, tilting his head in confusion. All right, I have a new path. I know what I'm gonna do now. You do your bird things, but I have a plan.
Okay.
You put the roll at the top of the input rather than the bottom. Yeah, that is probably the problem. He's got shears. She's got shears. I've got the gem.
Oh my god.
I am like super bulked up now. Ugh, so ready with the gem. That's a really large gem. I could probably sell that for a lot of money. Good tip. Taking notes right now. This is, like I said, this is a learning session. We're learning. We're learning. What are we learning? We don't know. But we'll know once we know it. So goofy. Alright, that does not look like Harrison Ford. Come on. Come on, Tony. Look at that picture. Are you telling me that looks like Harrison Ford?
Shiny, now satisfied with the answer, hops back again, trying to see if anything else shiny is nearby, still holding the shears, however. The silence in the rose garden was thick and palpable. Angela Baker stared at Colt, her grey blue eyes wide with a mixture of shock, fear, and a fragile blooming hope. Her stutter vanished for a moment, replaced by a breathless whisper. Kobe? Colt. Kobe felt the world tilt.
I
The
just
name
got
from his old life.
confused why it knew that, but I realized it's like an input you put into the game, like your old name. I was really freaked out for a second. I was like, "What? How did it know? How did DeepSeek know?"
Spoken in a sun-dappled fantasy garden was a key turning in a rusty lock. He nodded slowly. Yeah, it's me. Or it was me. Shiny the raven hopped back a few paces, the pruning shears still clutched in one talon. He cocked his head, looking from Colt to Underla with avian curiosity. Hold on, the bird squawked. You two know each other?
Colt blinks twice and then shrugs. Well, this changes the order of priorities. I had a feeling the Dark Mage of Doom was probably actually a bad guy, especially after he had me silence a random guy and old lady. But I believe in redemption, and I am sure they both forgive me. Pause. So, instead of using this power for his evil deeds, I will use it to amass myself an empire. Oh, wait, that's the C action. Story action. Yes, I'm not going to do evil deeds for him. Instead, I'm going to use the power for myself.
I'm sure he will like that.
I like the lopsided grin. I'm gonna hit continue because 80% of it was just me. Angela Baker Mason stared at him, her initial shock giving way to a familiar exasperation. Her stutter returned, but it was softer now, edged with disbelief. You're still an idiot, Kobe. An empire with what? A magic rock and it's a talking bird? I feel very offended right now that she would say such things to my face. In private, it's okay to make fun of me, but this is too far. In front of my bird too. Shiny called loudly, dropping the shears with a clatter. An empire? Finally, a plan with some vision. Do you know how many shiny crowns and scepters are involved in empire building? I approve. He fluttered up to his perch on this stone cherub again, puffing at his chest. Colt ignored the bird, his focus on Andala. It's not just a rock, he said, petting the pocket where the gem weighed warm against his thigh. It's a mineral. Oh, wait, no, wrong show. It's the power of silence. Total, absolute silence. I can make anyone shut up. Forever. He leaned in, his voice dropping. Think about it, Mason. We're not the only ones here. Rodigan mentioned others. What if the whole class got dumped into Solaria? What if Simon Starling is... Oh my goodness. He's actually Simone. Moonling. Honestly, I don't need much more than a bird and a rock to make an empire. I'm very good at it. I've done it a couple of times. It's kind of just doing it the hard way. There's some beautiful art coming in on the Discord of birds. Honestly, we should have used Harbinger because it's a bird, but, you know.
True.
Hindsight.
At that exact moment, a figure emerges. Simon Starling stepped out from behind a tall rose trellis, his fine leather boots silent on the gravel path. He wore an impeccably tailored doublet of deep green velvet, his expression one of polite curiosity that didn't quite reach his shrewd brown eyes. A silver pin shaped like a starling bird gleamed at his collar. Everything quite alright out here, Andala? He asked, his voice smooth and measured. I thought I heard rather animated discussion. His gaze drifted from his stammering maid to Colt's disheveled appearance, then to the unusually large raven preening itself on the garden statue. One well-groomed eyebrow arched slightly. And who might you be, young man? I don't believe we've had the pleasure.
Colt tilts his head, and no words arrive for 3.4 seconds. Dude, you are literally the same age as me. You can't just call me a young man. That's weird. Also, don't you realize we're discussing at this very moment that we all got teleported here? So you can, like, drop the act, you know? I fiddle with with the gem. Anyways, if you insist on being insufferable, I can just yoink your voice, but nah, that would be a waste of energy. That would better be used building my glorious empire. Needs the exclamation. I mean, how hard could it be? What could the AI possibly put in my way? Colt stared at Simon Starling, the finely dressed nobleman who looked every bit the part of a successful 38-year-old lord. Wait, is it not one of the classmates? I thought it was one of the classmates. Wasn't that the implication of the previous paragraph?
It kinda was. This might be an hallucination.
Okay, it just restated the whole thing. 3.4 seconds of utter silence ticked by, broken only by the rustle of the roses in the breeze and the shiny, soft clucking from the statue. You can do it, DeepSeek. I believe in you. It forgot its own flaw. Never would our AI make a mistake. Simon Starling's composed expression flickered for the briefest moment, a tightening around his eyes, a slight twitch of his fingers against the embroidered hem of his doublet. Then, with practiced ease, he smoothed his features back into polite neutrality. I'm afraid I don't follow, he said, his voice measured and calm. Teleported? From where, precisely? His gaze flicked to Andala, who had gone very still, her fingers twisting the fabric of her apron. Andala, has this man been bothering you? You know you only need say the word, and I'll have the guards escort him from the premises. Shiny, still perched on the cherub's statue, let out a derisive call. Oh, please, drop the act, Lord Starling. I'm concerned now. This guy, like, he's using the teleportation to enrich himself. Like, he is taking the situation that has been randomly thrust upon him and taking advantage of it to enrich himself and gain power. That's awful. How could someone do that? I, on the other hand, I'm going to start an empire for the sake of the collective, but mostly me. I'm excited to take control of his estate.
Shiny, seeing the glint of the silver starling pin on Simon's collar, couldn't resist. With a swift, precise dive, the raven snatched the pin, tearing it free and fluttering back to the cherub statue, the prize clutched in its talons. Ooh, shiny, he cackled, completely derailing the tense moment. Simon Starling's hand flew to his now bare collar, his composure finally cracking. A flash of genuine irritation, and something else, something younger and far less polished, crossed his face. You insufferable bird, he snapped, the cadence of his voice shifting suddenly. Colt seized the opportunity, pointing a dramatic finger. See? That right there. That's not 30-year-old nobleman voice.
Colt then crossed his arms. Anyways, we're going to need to borrow some of your men, a couple of rooms, whatever weapons you have, and I am sure starving. He looks to the bird. Oh, and if you have any bird shiny things, my partner will need a cut. In return for all these things, I promise you protection. Here's the play. I'm offering him protection. He's gonna see protection from what? And then I'm going to imply that the protection is from myself. This is what we call mafia tactics. So it's a fair deal. I don't know. He was being kind of annoying, so I feel okay doing this. I need money for my empire anyways, right? This is just a shortcut. Simon Starling stared at Colt, his expression a carefully controlled mask of aristocratic bewilderment. The stolen pin glinted in Shiny's talons as the raven preened proudly on the stone cherub. Andala Mason stood frozen, her gaze darting between them like a cornered rabbit. Protection, Simon repeated, his voice cool and measured once more, though a faint tension lingered around his eyes. From what precisely? You appear to be a commoner who's fallen out of a hedge, and your associate appears to be a magpie with delusions of grandeur. Shiny ruffled his feathers indignantly. Magpie, I'm a raven of discerning taste, and that's Lord Shiny to you, you feather. Colt waved a dismissive hand. I need to finish the line, so if you don't mind, I just want to say protection from us. Colt clears his throat dramatically, waving the raven to settle on his shoulder. Not aggressively. There's a word I'm looking for here. 1 second. I need the word.
Dramatically?
Intimidatingly. The protection is from us. He holds up the gem, which glows with a dramatic flare. I will not speak of what this does, but if you wish to find out. Get it? I will not speak of what this does. Because you can't speak if... Okay. Okay, I thought the wordplay was a little ironic, okay? Alright, let's see how he reacts. Simon Starling's eyes narrowed, fixed on the crimson gem glowing softly in Colt's palm. The polished nobleman's mask slipped another fraction, revealing a flicker of wary calculation beneath. A theatrical trinket, he said, his tone dismissive, but he did not look away. You break into my gardens, harass my maid, and now you brandish a bauble and make demands? Explain yourself, properly. Angela, Mason, found her voice, the stutter softer now, edged with urgency. He's telling the truth, my lord. We from the same place. The light event, the classroom. A long silence followed, broken only by the distant chirp of a sparrow. Lots of birds. Lots of birds in this story. That is a very good point, that once I silence someone, I have no leverage over them. That's why if he's mean about this, I'll just silence one of his guards or something to show him what could happen. Pretty sure that's against the Geneva Convention, using an innocent bystander to but this is pre-Geneva Convention, so it's okay.
True. Shiny pecks at the pin, and suddenly Simon Starling's gaze snapped from the gem to Angela's face, then back to Colt. The carefully constructed facade of the 30-year-old lord seemed to ripple like a stone dropped into a still pond. For a moment his shoulders slumped, and he ran a hand through his thick brown hair, a gesture that was startlingly youthful. Okay, old people can't run their hand through their hair. Utterly at odds with his beard and fine clothes. Mrs. Henderson's final, he said quietly, the words not a question but a weary statement. I never finished question 7, the one about polynomial division. That mission hung in the air. Heavy with shared memory, Angela let out a soft, shuddering breath. Colt lowered the gem, its inner glow fading.
Colt stuck the gem into his pocket and strolled to the front door. Excellent. Have Angela make us some food, and we'll discuss your new role in the Empire, since you are going to comply. He is behind the door, and it slams shut before Simon can respond. This is what I call the art of the deal. If you don't let them refuse it, then the deal is in a quasi state of being accepted. And as long as I don't ever go face to face with Simon again, it will be assumed that he's agreed to my demands. And it becomes really awkward if he tries to bring it up, like, oh, we never really agreed, especially if he starts, following it, I'm a professional at this. Colt shoved the crimson gem back into his pocket with finality, its glow winking out as he strode past Simon Starling to the manor's ornate oak door. Excellent, he declared over his shoulder, his voice dripping with false cheer. Have Angela make us some food. We'll discuss your new role in the Empire, since you are going to comply. Before Simon could muster a response, whether indignant refusal or stunned acquiescence, Colt yanked the heavy door open and slipped inside, letting it slam shut behind him with a resounding thud. The grand foyer of Starling Manor stretched before him, all polished floors and vaulted ceilings adorned with intricate tapestries. Sunlight streamed through the tall, stained glass windows, casting jewel-toned pattern across the floor. I was considering, freeing Angela, because I'm not sure she really wanted to, become a maid for this dude. But I feel like it's easier if we just inherit the estate and have her cook for us instead.
True.
I mean, there could be a moral argument to be made, but, I'm trying to build an empire here. It makes me look more official if I have, a noble under me. So it's okay. It's fine. Breed us? Oh no, I'd say more like under new management. Yeah, that is kind of what's going on here. I also don't know if the other students have their own like powers and stuff. I might have to be a little careful, but this guy just seemed kind of lame. So
He
yeah.
does. Shiny flies around, scouting what the new Empire's home base has to offer. The sudden slam of the manor door echoed through the grand foyer, leaving Colt standing alone on the polished marble. For a moment there was only the soft tap of his worn boots on the stone and the distant muffled sound of Simon Starling's outraged sputtering from the garden path. Shiny, who had swooped in through the open door just before it closed, flapped past Colt's head, his glossy black wings stirring the air. "Oh, Shiny!" the raven caught, his beady eyes fixed on a suit of ornamental plate armor standing guard by a sweeping staircase. The armor's gauntlets were gilded, and Shiny immediately began pecking at the metal, producing a series of sharp clicks. "Don't damage the merchandise."
Around an hour later, Colt and the Raven sit, having commandeered the study, having with various maps and library materials spread across the desk. All right, Shiny. Ravens are smart. How hard do you think it will be to capture the entire kingdom without being stabbed, poisoned, maimed, or turned into a nude? He points at the map. I'm dying.
Don't die.
I breathed in a piece of dust. I'm dying. I like how I'm asking about the chances of me dying, and then I start choking to death on stream. And losing my voice. Excellent. Oh, the story is just so sad I'm crying. It's not because I, like, literally just... I need an air purifier. Alright. Shiny perched on the edge of an ornate inkwell, his talons tapping thoughtfully against the porcelain as he surveyed the maps sprawled. I'm gonna go get water. You can finish.
Alright. Shiny perched on the edge of an ornate inkwell, his talons tapping thoughtfully against the porcelain as he surveyed the maps sprawled across Simon Starling's polished mahogany desk. The raven tilted his head, one eye scrutinizing the inked borders of Solaris' territories. "Statistically speaking," Shiny mused, his voice dripping with avian sarcasm, "the odds of not being stabbed, poisoned, maimed, or nudified while attempting to conquer a kingdom are slim, delightfully slim." He hopped onto a particularly detailed map of Everlight, his talons wrinkling the parchment. "But if we prioritize shiny things, first crowns, scepters, the royal treasury, then perhaps the stabbing will be more of a secondary concern."
Alright, you can go ahead. I've got my not a product placement, but I've got my Kirkland signature organic coconut water, which is going to help me through the rest of this stream. It was the closest beverage in my office. It tastes like coconuts. Mmm. No sugar added. Not from concentrate. Oh, we should have done a picture for this one. It probably would have been good. Us with the map.
True. You can do one after this one. Shiny makes a plan. Shiny ruffled his feathers, hopping from the inkwell to a detailed map of Everlight's noble districts. First, he declared, tapping a talon on the parchment, we identify the shiniest targets, the royal palace vaults, obviously. Then the Mages Guild repository, they hoard enchanted gemstones like I hoard buttons. But we'll need a distraction, the raven's eyes gleamed. Perhaps you could silence the entire city guard during the annual Sun Festival. They're always terribly loud. Colt leaned back in the plush leather chair, his fingers drumming on the armrest. Silencing the whole guard, that's ambitious, even for this thing. He patted the gem in his pocket. And what about Simon?
Colt thinks. I like that I'm getting made fun of in chat for drinking coconut water now. I shouldn't have even mentioned it, even as a joke. Don't judge me. I have my reasons. All right. Colt thinks for a moment. Well, that's not the only issue. Once I silence people, well, I lose all leverage, and then have a very angry person. So silencing a bunch of people with swords, not great. He tilts his head. However, nobody knows the limit of my power. And I could make a statement. You know. Find one really well-known, highly disliked person, and then just demonstrate for leverage and fun. That's how I do it. You know, you gotta find, there's that one, every kingdom has that one guy that everyone hates, right? Nobody likes him. Everyone knows of him. We just gotta find that dude, and we can make an example of him, which will probably actually make us more liked in the kingdom. Alright, Colt tapped his fingers against the mahogany desk, his gaze drifting to the stained glass window where afternoon sunlight painted the study in hues of amber and crimson. Demonstrations do have their appeal, he mused aloud, but we need the right target, someone universally despised, but not so powerful that silencing them would bring the entire royal army down on our heads before we're ready. Shiny fluttered onto a shelf lined with leather-bound tomes, his talons disturbing a thin layer of dust. What about Lord Highgrove? The raven suggested, pecking at a spine of a book titled Taxation and Tithes of the Eastern Provinces. The man's a miser who hoards grain during famines. Even his own hounds growl at him. Ooh.
That does sound like a good target.
Let's go! Someone just compared me to Lelouch v. Britannia. That means I'm doing it right. Excellent. Well, hopefully it doesn't end in the same way, but, well, I mean, it's not a bad way to go. You know. I'll go the Lulu route. Because I'm a little Delulu. Can you steal their inner voice? I don't know. That would be really messed up, making people into like a hollow shell of themselves. Ugh.
Shiny elaborates more about him. Shiny ruffled his feathers, hopping from the bookshelf to the edge of the desk with a flutter of glossy black wings. Lord Highgrove, the raven continued, his voice dripping with disdain, is a man so wretched even his own shadow voiced him. He owns half the grain silos in Everlight, but sells moldy flour at triple the price during shortages. Last winter he evicted an entire orphanage to
Jesus.
build a private kennel for his prized borzoi hounds. The bird leaned in conspiracially, and rumor has it he cheats at cards. The nobility despise him, the commoners curse his name, and his own wife reportedly sleeps with a dagger under her pillow. Colt stroked his chin, considering this.
Well, that sounds great. Colt kicks the door open and looks for Simon. All right, Simon, since you're all noble and stuff, I guess I think you probably know events rich people go to in order to amuse themselves at the cost of the peasants. Anyways, get us into a royal ball or something so we can declare petty war on what's his name? Lord Highgrove. Well, unless you want to be the one I use as an example. That is. It just, AI Dungeon feels good because in my normal life, I only get a couple of opportunities, like a week, to threaten people on this level. In an AI Dungeon, I can just do it non-stop. Like I can just push people around. Like I said, like especially working at Latitude, like I can only like silence people a couple of times a day, right? But this allows me to go on a tirade.
It does.
Colt kicked the study. Okay, it did actually. It repeated it. I'll do a retry. I'll do another retry. Okay, I'm going to try and add a line break. This. And then retry. Come on, Deep Sea. All right. Colt kicked open the study door, the heavy oak thudding against the wall with a satisfying crack. He found Simon Starling pacing the sun-drenched conservatory, his fine velvet doublet slightly askew, a glass of amber liquid. I don't think he's old enough to drink if we were in school. Anyway, it clutched tightly in his hand. The nobleman, or rather, the cheerleader turned nobleman, whirled around, his face a mask of simmering outrage. You cannot just barge in here, and Simon began, his voice tight. I can, and I did. Colt interrupted. Okay, I'm gonna. I'm gonna do surgery to this. There we go. You can take it from here. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do an image real quick.
Sounds good.
It's okay. We can allow the bird to give their thoughts on the situation. There's just a feather in my hair. Excellent. Excellent. She's just in the background. Now she's in a dress. We also have a signature because this is a painting, and the AI has marked a signature on it. Excellent. Everything's going very well. Delete and continue is better than retry. Huh, interesting.
Because it clears the cache. The cached retries.
This is real AI dungeon gameplay. This is advanced. Now she's a redhead. I don't think there's been much character consistency. I don't think there's been much.
I think Shiny has been consistent.
That is true. Shiny has been consistent. Maybe if I had known she was a redhead from the beginning, I would have been less threatening. There's no knowing. But from blonde maid to brown Indiana Everlight to redhead noble. So many, but that's the thing, like, she can be anything at any time. Maybe she's
Simon
a shapeshifter.
Starling's jaw tightened, his knuckles whitening around the glass. He took a slow, deliberate sip of the amber liquid, some kind of spiced Solarian brandy, before setting it down on the marble-topped side table with a sharp clink. A royal ball, he repeated, his voice dangerously calm. You wish to declare petty war on Lord Highgrove at a royal function? Do you have any conception of the political fallout, the sheer audacity? Shiny, who has been investigating the rim of Simon's glass, suddenly dipped his beak into the liquor. He emerged sputtering, feathers ruffled and wobbling unsteadily on the fern. Tastes like fire and poor decisions, the raven croaked, shaking his head vigorously. But the glass is very shiny.
Colt rubs his head and thinks, you're right. The political fallout would be immense if I went as I am. So I'll need your finest clothes and probably someone to... My eyes flick over to Andala. Oh. And I'll bring her. Then I'm a proper noble, right? See? All the problems at hand have been solved in mere seconds. Excellent. Excellent. I've got my fit, I've got my date. We're going to the royal ball and we're gonna commit crimes against humanity on the least liked person in the kingdom. It's going to be... I can't even express how amazing this is going to be. It's going to be great. Simon Starling pinched the bridge of his nose, his carefully cultivated noble demeanor fraying at the edges. You cannot simply put on ability like a new doublet, he said through gritted teeth. There are protocols, bloodlines, decades of social maneuvering. Andala, who had been hovering near the conservatory door with a tray of untouched tea, cleared her throat. Her stutter was softer now, laced with reluctant amusement. He could be your cousin from the northern estates, my lord. The one with the hoagie inheritance. It's a rare genetic trait, very distinguished. The Chinese, still tipsy from the brandy, flapped onto Simon's shoulder with a scrawl. Inheritance! Brilliant! Ah, see? The fact that my hair never stays down is now my greatest quality, and my ability to fake my way into any situation. All right, 1 second. I'm gonna make another picture.
Sounds good.
If I don't generate enough pictures to like show up on Latitude's monthly bill, then we aren't doing enough. I should switch it to the pro model. I currently have it on like the non-pro model. Wow, my hair. Holy moly, it took it seriously.
It actually did
Wow.
it for once.
Well, that is just really extreme, but you know what? Wow. I like how it looks like the Raven is drinking. And he has 2 glasses now, Simon. I'm really stressing him out. Really stressing him out. Ah. Well, actually, the Ahogi is an ancient symbol of nobility. Believe it or not, King Arthur canonically has one. I don't know if anyone's going to get the reference, but I it's a Fate reference. I gave chat approximately 4 seconds to figure out what I meant by that.
Fate references are always nice.
There we go. Someone in chat thinks I'm funny. Someone in chat thinks I'm witty. I mean, you kind of have to. I'd silence you if you didn't think I was funny, but, you know. How much have I missed? Well, we went from me being carried by a bird to now me planning to take over an empire. Good night, Tony. Have a good night.
Simon Starling stared at the raven now perched drunkenly on his shoulder, then at Colt's hopeful expression, and finally at Anderla's tentative suggestion. He let out a long, weary sigh that seemed to carry the weight of 2 lifetimes. Very well, he conceded, his voice tired. You can attend the upcoming harvest ball as my distant cousin Colt of Northmarch. It's remote enough that few will question your unfamiliarity with the court customs. He pointed a stern finger at Colt, but you will follow my lead. One misstep and I will deny any relation to you. Shiny, swaying slightly caught. Northmarch, famous for its shiny rocks and unusually verbose birds. Before tumbling off Simon's shoulder and landing in a pot of
Hydrangeas.
Hydrangeas.
Don't we have a moderator named Shiny?
Yeah.
And
We have an
you
employee
are
named Shiny.
playing as a bird named Shiny. I wonder how Shiny feels about this identity theft.
It is identity theft, and it's capitalized. That's a crime.
Yes, Colt is a benevolent lord. I'm not at the risk of being silenced. I'm not being told what to say. This is my opinion. And very funny. Yes, exactly. See, someone understands. Someone understands. All right, I don't know. Should we time skip a little bit? I think we should have like a cool scene where we're yeah, all right. The cool setup scene, you know? In the movie you'd have like the slow-mo pulling on the cape and, you know, getting all ready for the yeah, okay. Sometime later, after days of planning and eating fine food and Shiny enjoying far too much wine, Colt pulls on his blue tailcoat, adorned with fancy nobility style, and looks in the mirror. Well, I'm certainly alive. Pause. But this is what a true emperor looks like. That's okay. The bird's probably going to roast me now.
It's really good at roasting you.
It is. It's very good at roasting me. It's almost like it's used to overconfident guys who try to build empires using a rock and a bird. You know, the founding of Mexico was because a bird landed somewhere, so too can found an empire with a bird. Granted, you aren't carrying a snake, but different universes, different rules.
True.
All right. Colt stood before the full-length silvered glass in Simon Starling's guest chamber, adjusting the high collar of his sapphire blue tailcoat. The fabric was embroidered with a silver thread. Excellent, because that is actually, I didn't even have to tell it, it knew. And it felt both impossibly heavy and strangely restrictive compared to his usual rough-spun tunic. His stubborn ahogi, however, remained defiantly upright, piercing the otherwise impeccable noble silhouette. Well, I'm certainly alive. But this is what a true emperor looks like. Oh, I struck a pose, one hand on his hip. What am I, Subaru Natsuki? The door creaked open and Andala slipped inside, her maid's dress swapped for a simple but elegant gown of dove gray silk. Her stutter was barely noticeable now, smoothed by days of rehearsed confidence. The question is, for the next session, am I going to have to wear my tailcoat?
You might have to.
I do have my tailcoat from my emperoring days when I used to manage the Imperial Senate. I may have to dress up for the next one. I have a funny hat too with a feather. I could go full noble. And you'd have to dress up as a bird. So we'd have to both do it, otherwise it doesn't work.
I don't think I have anything resembling a bird.
You can just like tape some feathers to your head. You know, it can be convincing.
Shiny has also dressed up, now wearing the Raven Shiny has also been outfitted. Simon. Okay, weird. Simon, in a fit of either desperate or spite, had ordered a tiny jewel-encrusted harness crafted. It was a ridiculous thing of black velvet and silver thread with minuscule sapphires sealed along the straps. A small plummet that was perched crookedly on his head, secured under his beak with a thin cord. Shiny stood on the dressing table, preening a sapphire with his beak. "I look magnificent," he declared. "Like a king among corvids, or a duke at least." Andala shifted a laugh behind her hand. "You look like a jester's familiar who robbed a jeweler." Jealousy is so unbecoming.
Oh my. Oh, the picture! The picture! It's so important right now. Come on. Come on.
It is.
Come on. Come on, give me a good one. All right, I think we're a little over time. Not that anyone cares. Why? Wait. Why? Why is she covering her eyes? Why is he in the center? Why am I so short? I have many questions here. Although it got the tailcoat pretty good.
And the bird is dressed up.
The bird does look good. The bird does look good. I wish when I clicked on an image it got larger, not smaller. I may have to speak to the developers about this. That is quite the beard. He does not look in his 20s anymore. That is quite the bird, though. Like this square right here. Excellent. We were just to crop it out. The noble and his bird looks just like me. She's covering her eyes because the Raven's outfit is a fashion disaster. How is that a fashion disaster? Look at that. That is the best outfit I've seen in my life. Look at the little hat.
Exactly.
That is drip. That is certified. All right, I think I have to go back to programming or something, or I'm gonna get like, I don't know, fired or, silenced. Drippy, handsome Aldark. What do you mean? That's just how Aldark always is. You don't have to specify drippy and handsome. That's just assumed. And humble. Highly humble. Do we know how to end the stream?
I'm not sure.
Let me ping someone real quick. We're stuck. We're stuck.
We'll just be streaming forever now.
I know we can leave, but I don't want to leave the audience just alone because they require tending. The audience requires us. They'd be so sad on their own. Who would tell them what to think and what to do? And what games to buy? This stream has been brought to you by Octopus Gang. Wait, how do I close? Okay, I'm just stuck now because oh, there we go. Dynamic Deep Sea. I like Deep Sea. It's one of my favorites.
I love the icon.
We may just have to keep going for a little bit until someone shuts off the stream. Although now
I think I see Dan in chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming on this adventure.